There's a number on everything you own that you've never seen. Not the price tag, not the receipt total, something else entirely. It's the cost of everything that happened before the product reached your hands. Every negotiation, every currency exchange, every percentage point added by someone you'll never meet for a service you didn't know you were paying for. They call it the cost of friction, and it's embedded in the global economy like a hidden tax that compounds at every layer until it reaches you. You can't see it, but you pay it every single time. Most people think the price of a product is simple: raw materials plus labor plus profit. That's not how it works. Between the person who grows the coffee bean and the person who drinks the coffee, there are a dozen intermediaries, and each one takes a cut. A farmer in Colombia picks coffee cherries, sells them to a processor for $1 per pound. The processor sells to an exporter for $2. The exporter sells to an importer for $3, importer to distributor for $4.50, distributor to roaster for $6, roaster to retailer for $10. You pay $15. From $1 to $15, and everyone along that chain is operating on thin margins. Nobody's getting rich. So where did the other $14 go? It went into the system. Transaction fees, currency conversion, logistics, insurance, financing. It went into friction. Now, multiply that across every product in your home. Every item has traveled through a supply chain with a dozen hands touching it, each adding their invisible percentage. Let's talk about currency conversion. A company in Japan buys steel from Germany. They have yen, the supplier wants euros. The bank charges a spread. The actual exchange rate might be 130 yen per euro. The bank offers 128 when you're buying, 132 when you're selling. That 4 yen difference is their profit. Invisible because it's baked into the rate itself. Trillions of dollars are exchanged daily. Every exchange carries a spread. For big corporations, a fraction of a percent. For small businesses, 2, 3, even 5%. That cost gets passed down. It ends up in the price of the steel, then the car, then what you pay at the dealership. You never saw the currency exchange, but you paid for it. Between companies, there are payment intermediaries, banks, processors. They charge fees, 1%, maybe more. Credit risk management, trade finance, another percentage. Shipping insurance, port fees, customs brokers, each one clipping a small percentage. A recent study estimated that trade friction adds 20 to 30% to the final price of internationally traded goods. 20 to 30% before the product even reaches consumers. Despite the internet, despite globalization, despite all the talk about efficiency. Why? Because the system isn't designed to eliminate friction. It's designed to manage it, and management isn't free. Think about inventory financing. Retailers don't pay up front. They negotiate terms. Net 60, net 90. They get the product today, but pay in 3 months. Someone has to cover that gap. The supplier borrows from a bank. The bank charges interest. Who pays that interest? You. It's already priced in. Estimates suggest friction costs account for 10 to 20% of global GDP, $9 to $18 trillion every year. Money that doesn't go toward better products or higher wages, it just evaporates into the system. And here's the uncomfortable part. A lot of that friction is intentional. Entire industries exist to manage complexity, and complexity is profitable. Credit card processing. You swipe your card, the merchant pays 2 to 3%. The credit card company is guaranteeing payment, managing fraud risk. Fair enough, but that cost structure was established decades ago when processing payments was genuinely expensive. The actual cost today is fractions of a cent. The fee hasn't dropped. It stayed at 2 to 3% because there's no incentive to lower it. You pay for it every time you use a card. When you invest in a mutual fund, you pay a management fee, 1% per year. But the fund also pays trading fees, custody fees, legal fees, compliance fees. Total cost might be closer to 2% annually. You only see the 1%. Over 30 years, that can reduce your returns by nearly 40%. Compound interest works both ways. Here's the irony. We live in the most technologically advanced era in history. The internet was supposed to eliminate middlemen and reduce costs, and in some areas it has. But for most commerce, the middlemen are still there. They've just changed form. Amazon takes 30 to 40% of every sale from third-party sellers. Uber takes 20 to 30% of every ride. Delivery apps, 25 to 35%. The internet didn't eliminate intermediaries, it consolidated them and made them more expensive because convenience has value, and once a platform becomes the default, they can charge whatever the market will bear. The actual cost to deliver your food hasn't changed, but the app in the middle takes a third of the transaction. Friction. Digitized, optimized, and scaled. Let's talk about compliance costs. Every regulation, every safety standard, every reporting requirement adds cost, and that cost gets passed to consumers. When the EU implemented GDPR, companies hired lawyers, overhauled systems, created compliance teams. Small businesses spent tens of thousands. Large corporations spent millions. Did prices go down after GDPR? No, they went up. Environmental regulations, labor laws, tax codes, each adds complexity, and complexity requires people to manage it, all of them taking a cut. Here's what it comes down to. The modern economy is a web of intermediaries extracting value from moving products, money, or information from point A to point B. Some provide genuine value, shipping companies, insurers, but many exist because the system is complex, and the system is complex because it's profitable to keep it that way. If international payments became instant and free, banks would lose billions. If supply chains became transparent, logistics companies would lose their advantage. So the system stays complex, and complexity has a cost. That cost is the invisible price tag, the one you never see, the one baked into everything you buy. And here's the final truth. You can't opt out. You can shop smarter, buy local, avoid middlemen where possible, but you're still operating within a global economy designed around friction. The coffee you buy still passes through borders, banks, and brokers. The money you save still gets clipped by fees you'll never fully see. The products you order still carry the cost of every hand that touched them. So the question isn't whether you're paying the invisible price tag. You are. The question is whether the system can ever change. And honestly, probably not. Because the people profiting from friction are the same people who build the infrastructure. You're not just paying for the product, you're paying for the system that delivers it. And the system costs more than the product ever did.